Hi, thank you for joining us for another episode of No Filters After Dark. Hi, my name is Roxy, and I'm your host for tonight. With me, I have several lovely ladies, as usual. Miss Carla, how are you this evening?
I'm wonderful, love. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Good.
How about you, Miss Letitia? How are you?
Hey, she got her sultry, sexy voice on tonight.
Yes.
Trying to set the mood, you know. Yeah, you know.
Oh, you are a mood.
I
Right.
try, I try. How you doing over there, Miss D?
I am fantastic. How are you?
Pretty good. Happy to be here. Excited to be here with you, ladies, and you guys out there in the audience, ladies and gentlemen, who decided to come in here and spend your time with us. Because you could have been anywhere else, but you chose to come over here and hang out with us, and we appreciate that.
Yes.
So, we're going to go ahead and get started. This evening, we're going to be talking about foreplay. That'll be our first topic that we'll go into. We'll discuss what foreplay is, different techniques, and then, you know, what it can do to enhance your life.
Hmm.
Um, and then we'll talk about safe words and all that entails. So definitely stick around as long as you can and spend some time with us as we go ahead and get started. So when we're talking about foreplay is what they call outer course. Um, that's the body's outside sexual activity that occurs between um, two people. So it's the thing that gets it going. Basically, it's the warm up that you go into before you actually get to the shebang bang pow. Um, Foreplay means many different things to many different people. Um, so I'm gonna open it up to the ladies, and you can tell us, ladies, what you think foreplay means for you. Um, and then
Why
also,
we limited to two people?
you know what? You right. You right. You right. You know what? That was my
I'm
mistake.
just saying.
Because you know what? Because yeah, you're right. I shouldn't have because my wife gonna kick my butt for that. I'm sorry, Erica. Didn't mean nothing by that. I swear I
I'm
didn't.
just saying.
Nope, I didn't. Yeah, between people, period. However many that might be,
Consenting adults, whether it be 1, 2, 3, 25, 37.
There we go.
Consenting adults.
There we go.
Because I hadn't even thought about the orgy parties or see, yeah, get me together. Get me together. For real. But
Well, for
what is it?
me, so for me, foreplay, okay, intercourse to me is the physical intimacy. And for me, foreplay is the emotional intimacy. But while it can be physical, it's more emotional than it is physical. And a lot of people don't engage enough in the mental part of foreplay. It's not just about cunnilingus, it's not just about oral activities. That's not the only concept of foreplay. Foreplay can start with a text message in the morning. It can start with a note left on the counter, a picture, a new picture left in your husband's lunch before he goes to work. So when he opens up, he has a nice surprise. Foreplay can come in so many different forms, and it's what gets you mentally prepared for the physical intimacy. And I don't see how people have left out that version of foreplay where a lot of people just go straight to it. If they have foreplay, it's only oral sex, and that's the only foreplay that they actually engage in, and they're missing out on the emotional intimacy that foreplay can be.
So true. So true. It's a connection. What do you think, Miss Letitia?
I agree with Miss Dean. I mean, so much of what I need sexually starts in mental stimulation. And if you're not stimulating that, we're not touching. And I think that people are so quick to jump to, well, this doesn't work the way it used to, but I don't get as wet as I used to. We're older. So the things that used to stimulate, like, you're not going to get stimulated from penis being in the room anymore. You're not going to get stimulated from vagina being in the room. You got to,
Hold on, it all depends on what penis it is. I'm just saying.
you know what? You're not lying.
Yeah, you wait a minute. Wait a
There
minute.
is the animal elements. I mean,
Right.
right.
Telling you.
But the sex is different depending on the level of intimacy. The level of work and thoughtfulness that you put in changes your sexual experience. And I think people are just, we just move too quick, y'all. Y'all want everything right now. Slow and steady still win a race. I promise.
Promise. Yeah, Miss Carla.
Okay, so you're ready now. So for me, I will say this. Foreplay starts definitely like everyone said before you even get to the bedroom. I think the best sexual experiences I've personally had. Now I'm sharing a personal side of me that I don't mind sharing with you, of course. Um, the best sexual experiences I've ever had came from the intimacy from someone that I was in constant contact with. What I mean is not always physically in contact with, but on the phone or a text or something to help to jumpstart my desire for him and then distance apart. So the time of missing each other, not taking each other for granted is a huge amount of foreplay that people don't even think about. Most people think about just the physical foreplay, but also the absence apart helps us to sit back and think, my God, I really miss your presence. I love being around you. I love certain things about you I can't experience from anyone else or from anywhere else. So, in that, it is truly a foreplay because you will find that if you're absent from each other for quite a several days or for a little bit, you will find yourself like, man, I cannot believe that I'm so drawn to you because I wasn't even thinking of that until the absence, the separation, the part that we have not really been together for so long has caused me not to even focus or think about um, sex. But since we're not together, all I keep thinking about is having those images of you, not necessarily sex either. It could just be the memory of you. And that in and of itself is huge for foreplay because now when you are returning to each other's space, you start to find out, my God, there has been so much joy just from you and I being apart. So I would say the greatest amount of foreplay for me is actually having that time apart, believe it or not.
I would agree with Carla on that. I'm a person that likes to miss people. I like to think of the smell of you. I like to think of the last time we communicated. I like to miss your presence. And for me, it keeps down drama in my life. When I miss you, there's no reason for us to argue when we do get together because we want to enjoy each other so much that you don't have time. You can bring up conversations, but you don't focus on negativity. You don't drown your relationship and negativity when you miss each other. So I agree with Carla wholeheartedly on that one. I like to miss you. I like missing your presence. Can't I like the feeling of I can't wait to see you. I love that feeling.
And then I can also tap a little bit on physical foreplay. Now, physical foreplay, there's a lot to it. I think we
So for
again,
me, um,
just like with Letitia, she said, which was powerful, that there is a amount of patience and not a rush in order to get the rush, if that makes sense. So when you take your time and you're not racing upon a clock. Don't get me wrong, there are times when you are doing that because you just got to have it. But when you have times where you're just in the moment and you're just really embracing and touching and feeling and exploring each other, the sexual energy from that gets more arousing by just that time and energy and focus. A lot of times we lose focus on the expressions of our mates' bodies showing us that they're in the zone. We're doing it right. We're doing it well. There's a breathing, there's a panting, there's a joy. Okay, so let me not stop this. let me continue on to bring them to the greatest arousal that can possibly be had. And so foreplay is one thing that we can be very creative with. We can add things, and we can also bring things that, sometimes we don't talk about. I know one of the things I used to bring for sexual play was pop rocks. Crazy, but I used to use them. Now, I have to tell you, when I
Hey,
used pop, now I
it's
was
it,
telling my best friend this, and she went and got her some pop rocks over at Cracker Barrel. And I said, now she comes back to me. She says, "Well, you didn't mention how much to use because I put the whole bag in my mouth and I started choking on the pop rocks. So all the
I was
sexy,
just gonna say, Carla, there's some amateurs listening, so be careful with that.
yeah." So she started choking off of the damn pop rocks. I said, "That's not what I told you. I told you to get you just take a little pinch, and then it's just to give a different." Girl, never mind. Don't listen to me no more because obviously you don't know what you're doing. But again, just explore, do some fun things, try something different. There's also Good Head is really good. I've used that quite a few times. The different flavors they have is like sour apple, strawberry, and I think cherry. Those were my three favorites out the gel pack because they had like a variety pack of them that you can use for fellatio also. Again, these are all different ideas you can use for foreplay. And then you can just be natural with it. You can just use your own what you have. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You can just use your hands, your own secretions to moisten whatever you need to moisten at the time. It doesn't have to be outside of you. So again, it just comes down to being creative, having some fun, and exploring each other. I think that's the most important part when it comes to foreplay.
Yes, get some fruit by the foot. I'm trying to tell you.
Love
Listen,
it.
I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it. Erica said strawberry good head is
Yes, you
nasty.
said strawberry it didn't move her. Okay, Erica. Well, maybe they changed the flavor. Back in the day when I was using it, it was pretty
She
good.
said
But
back in the day, listen, I give me some straight
you
up
know,
fruit by the
see,
foot. Let me break you up.
I mean, my God, I used to do this back in when I was in Playgirl years, when I was doing the most. I had a little bag. You know what I'm
She
saying?
said what I was doing the most.
I was doing the most, girl. I was tearing it up.
You supposed to do the most.
Yes, I agree. But I had a bag. I had to retire my bag and telling my girls all that stuff. And they both were upset. They're like, I mean, they would sit there like this, not
Listen,
being
Carla
able to
Nicole.
hear what details I was about to come and tell them. They're like, girl,
Right.
you that
But you know
bag.
what, Carla? I agree with you as far as when it comes to foreplay, being as creative as your mind will allow you to wander.
Yeah,
Because there have been moments where the foreplay was so engaging that there was never even the need for the actual intercourse in
yes,
itself.
yes, yes.
And those
I
have been
know.
some phenomenal experiences. You can play with foreplay to the point that there never has to be penetration and you are both satisfied.
It's true. It's facts. And that's
Yes,
why I
yes.
said when you're creative and you're learning each other, you find yourself more intrigued by their arousal to you. And I think we talked about this last week. When they rise to you or you see the excitement in your partner or your lover, that is the greatest joy for you. Because you're like, well, if you're a selfless lover, let me correct that. Not everybody feels that. But for the selfless lovers out here that really enjoy the joy from the other person, that is really your turn on. Is listen, I'm trying to tell you, it's
You
the
know what?
real deal.
I don't understand why people don't enjoy satisfying their partner.
Well, because some people are selfish, D. Like some people are just like, I look this good. I get all these like I've known like fine, 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 beautiful women, beautiful, handsome men that just lay there. And they are
Right?
horrible sexing. I mean, they
Right?
are horrible to sex.
I
Yes,
call them
they
dead
look
fish,
good.
just a dead wet fish.
Yeah, they look good as hell. Like, ooh, you are fine as hell. But then when you get in the bedroom with them, they are very lazy because they've never had to put forth effort or put forth a focus, full focus on someone else. So because they're always used to being catered to
Period.
sexually, they lean back. Here I
Right.
am. What does that mean? Here I am. You know what I mean? Like, come on now, ain't nobody got time for that. But they do. Some men just or women just feel like, hey, I'm all of that and a bowl of chips. So what you're going to do is you're going to be all over me. Well,
And so they're
I'm,
supposed to just take pleasure in the fact that you allowed them to lay down with them.
yes. And
Rich.
and it's very egotistical. It's a very egotistical space to be in. But there are lovers out there that don't have a desire to sex you. They're more interested in who's going to sex them and please them. And so, like, that's why I wanted to correct myself because I do understand some people are not selfless and don't feel joy until you do them. And maybe they will do things to you to get you to that arousal so you can hurry up and get to them. So again, it's about, well, can you hurry it up so I can get mine? But when you are both naked and vulnerable and both enjoying each other in that space and you really want to be together in that space, sexually in that sacred space together, then you'll find out, well, damn, this person really is empty for one, and then fulfilled from the joy I'm bringing. And that's when you have the best sex.
I just don't get it. I've never enjoyed sex just laying there.
Mm-mm.
Never.
No, ever.
I've never
I,
enjoyed just laying there.
No,
what does that
It, feel-
mean?
it, feels,
What is
it feels like such a disservice to my partner. Like,
it is.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie and say that there haven't been times I haven't done it, but they were under extenuating circumstances. Like he wanted to, and I had a headache. I'm like, I'm not gonna tell you no, but just understand that I got a headache and I'm not gonna be into this.
I
But that lasts a
don't
few minutes
know.
before you actually get into this. It's
Yeah,
Right.
never
because
it's
I mean,
never
look,
lasted for the duration. You know what I'm saying? Because I enjoy my partner. But there have been times like I'm really not in the mood. I'm not going to tell you no. So if you're cool with that, do you? Just do you.
Right.
I
But
mean,
after a
like,
while, because there's the emotional intimacy, regardless of how it started, that connection is going to you're everything's going to
mhm.
moisten up. You're going to get excited. You're going to start getting into it, and it
Right.
never remains like that for the entire night, even if it starts like that. But
Right.
people who go into the bedroom with the intentions of literally just laying there and the entire time never engaging, I don't understand that.
Me
What's
either.
the point?
Because look, I tell
And
my
that's
boo all
all,
the time, you can wake me up.
and you're right. And I feel like this. I feel like, to be all the way honest, I feel like foreplay is the great one of the greatest ways to show the person that you're with that you want to, like, just use their whole body as a canvas to bring them to their beauty to themselves, because the sex isn't about me, it's about you seeing yourself. So when you're getting in that euphoria, you're getting really into that erotica and an erotic zone. It really helps you to pull yourself into a creative state of being. So when you lay there and you feel more joy with him being joyful, or she, then you're finding yourself like, damn, I'm feeling like really moved by their joy. And then you'll find out, because when we first start out, nobody tells us that sex, it's about the other person. We just have sex and we just learn. It's like really a hit or miss. We just learn as we go. But when you really sit down and you pay attention, you're like, wait a minute. So I'm getting the most joy from my partner having joy from me being in this space with them. And that's where it comes, where you're just like, wow, this is powerful.
But even if it's about you being a selfish lover, the idea of you throwing it back or engaging in the actual act of intercourse, I feel like if you don't do that, you're doing yourself a disservice, because sex is more enjoyable when you're engaging in the act,
Right. I agree.
regardless of how good your partner is.
Yeah.
Roxy, you with us?
She's breaking up a little bit. You know, ladies, what we didn't touch on that spectrum of just laying there is people who have not discovered their sexuality.
Mm, I like that.
When you're not in tune with your body, when you're not in tune with your partner, when you're not fully in touch and embracing sexuality as a whole,
Right.
you're not as active. And I hear stories all the time about grown women not being in touch with themselves.
Facts. That's facts. Now, Letitia, you and
Right,
I both coach, and I think Miss D be coaching too. She just ain't telling nobody. But
she not telling us.
I
but
used to do that back in the day.
we all know for a fact. We can put our bottom dollar on the fact that there are many women that have not came to orgasms, and it blows my mind. Like, how do you go through your youth, and then your years of exploring sexually? How do you go that long without knowing how to climax? Because see, and I feel like we have been so sheltered as women to not be able to explore sexually because we've been taught that it's not good, or you don't be over there messing with them boys, get your little fast self in the house and all this stuff, that put your skirt down and stop bouncing your butt and doing the butt back in the day. And it's all of this stuff that was so negative about being a sensual being and being sexual, that it really hindered us from really exploring. Like, a lot of times, women don't even know what they really desire in sex. They don't know, literally. It's like, how do you not know that? Well, they don't even have a curiosity about it, which is shocking to me, Letitia, because you just mentioned that. If they don't know how to climax, then obviously you didn't have a curiosity about how to climax, or you don't feel that you are can even have it. Like, some women have just given up. Like, well, every time I have sex, I don't get anything, and it's only for the men. And I feel like sometimes when a man ejaculates at the end, it gives a woman that is inexperienced, it gives her the misconception that the man gets more than she does in sex, because she sees the explosion, or she sees his quivering, or she sees these pantings and falling asleep and stuff, and she's like, I didn't get all that. So men get it better than we do. But that's
But
not
you know what,
true.
Carla, I think a lot of that is because I think even though it's not taught directly, I think it's indirectly taught that our partners bring us to climax. It's not taught that you learn yourself or that you bring yourself to climax. Women are so much different from men when it comes to climaxing. And a lot of women don't know that there's a lot of emotions that are attached to our ability to climax in
Yeah,
the first place. And if you're not in touch with that, and you're taught that your partner is the one that's supposed to bring you to climax, if you never get in touch with that emotional side, if you never learn yourself, if you don't get in touch with yourself,
yeah,
you're thinking, and yes, your partner can, there is a G spot that he can hit that can make you have an orgasm. But
right.
because of the emotional attachment to sex that women have, if your first experience wasn't like that, and then the next guy comes along, oftentimes when you're in high school, when you first start having sex, we're all having sex with inexperienced people that are just learning their bodies, they're learning
Right,
themselves, and they're learning
right.
about sex. So this person hasn't learned how to make another individual climax, and you haven't learned how to make yourself climax. But we're taught that our partners bring us to that, and I think that's where a lot of women struggle at, and we don't talk about it enough.
No, and like I said, like, beautiful point you made, D, because you know for a fact many women do believe that their lover's supposed to bring them to that, which is another reason why men feel so much pressure. Did you have an orgasm yet before they ejaculate? Because they feel like, if I do all that and she doesn't get nothing, then I'm gonna be feel like I violated in some way. But again, like you said, when you don't really know your body, you have to explore you as well. You have to know what feels good to you. You have to explore all areas vaginally. I used to do fruit demos where I would take a peach or an orange or something to show the different areas of the vulva inside and out, to kind of help women to explore themselves, and then show men, because some men don't know how to, they don't know what they're doing either. So it's like, okay, you got too much pressure. and moving too fast. So we have to be really honest about what we really like. But first, like Dee said, you got to try it yourself to know.
Yeah, because I mean, it's so funny. You should be able to make yourself orgasm. As a grown woman, you should be able to make
Or
yourself,
man.
you know, or man.
Yeah.
Um, and there's so much that a lot of women don't know. And it's 2021, and I'm like, you haven't done what? You've not orgasmed?
I think a lot of people are afraid of their curiosities too. You remember a while back, I have this thought that everybody has a sick, twisted fetish, and people either haven't gotten in touch with it yet or they're too ashamed to admit what it is. But I think everybody has a sick, twisted fetish or something that they probably just wouldn't do with anybody or keep it to themselves. But I think oftentimes we may have those visions or we're afraid of our curiosities. Like with men, you can say that most men's fantasies is to have a threesome. And for a lot of women, I don't know about you ladies, but for a lot of my female friends, the fantasy of the stranger that just takes you, you don't even know his name, and it's just the best, blah, blah, blah. But most of us never act on those. And I think those type of moments make us shy away from a lot of our curiosities. And we don't want to explore because we don't want the criticism. We may be afraid to talk to our partners about it because we think they may look at us differently. And I think there's a lot of that is the reason why.
Love that. That could very well be. Which is again another reason why we're not able to climax, because we're holding back. And we can also, even during sex and foreplay, we as women have the capability to hold back climatic experiences because of fear. I'm going to say that again. We as females, women, can have a tendency to hold back orgasmic experiences because of fear. So, what I mean by that is, if you're having sex and it's really good, some women don't want to get too caught up in the lover she's sexing. So, what she does is holds back having that orgasmic experience because she's afraid of what her emotions will bring her to, which could be, I can be very aggravating, I could be demanding, I could be wanting commitment, all kinds of things I'm trying to avoid. So to avoid that, let me hold back my extreme experience, which is orgasm. So some women mentally shut down having an orgasm because of that.
That's interesting.
Yes. I've
They
had
just,
men tell me that they have seen and have felt women withhold release because
That's
of
so
fear.
blasphemous.
I know. And it's like, oh, why would you do that to yourself? Well, because the women are afraid because they've been hurt. And it could be emotionally. I'm not talking about always physical violence or nothing like that. They just been hurt before. So in their hurt, they're trying to save themselves from giving all of that orgasmic juice and secretion to a man, and they don't know if what's he going to do with all that. Is he going to take advantage of it, or is he going to be honorable of it? So
But in that
it's a lot.
situation, I would just rather not engage sexually with that individual if I felt like that
Yeah, I know.
than to hold back
But I think they
during the act.
but I think that they enjoy the sex. They just don't want to lose themselves. And they feel like their self, if that makes sense, their self is held in the orgasmic experience. So they don't want to give that all to a mate that they're not sure is going to commit or be in a relationship or take care of them. So they hold it back because they don't want to give all that to somebody they can't, you know, be comfortable with giving that to. And again, that also comes with beliefs. So if you have a belief that if I'm sexing you, you're my man, or if I'm sexing you, you're with me as a full-time partner, whatever, I'm expecting that. So if I know I will expect that, if I give this to you, I'm going to hold back giving that to you. I'm gonna only give you like you can get it, but you ain't gonna get it. And that's it's deep, but it's so crazy how we can be so in control of our bodies and of our sexuality to the point where we're really hampering ourselves. Because if you're not able to experience the greatest joy, with your sexual orgasm, then you're cutting yourself off. It doesn't. It's just crazy to me. Real talk.
I'm with D. If I gotta do all that, we not doing it because I want the whole package.
Right.
I want
That's
the
why.
whole
That's
package.
why I came, so I could came.
Right. I'm just trying to bust a good one, goddamn it. I don't care about all that other shit.
Right. We're
Straight
trying to
up, he
think.
did.
I mean, aren't we supposed to be going there? But some people, they wanna, they're afraid to let that go, man. They're like, I know how to take it there, but I'm only giving that up when I'm doing it with myself. And some women don't even get it from penetration. They don't have orgasm during penetration, so they only get it either via oral, or they get it from clitoral stimulation.
Yeah, because it's like a special man to get an
Is it?
orgasm out of me from penetration.
But
Really?
would that have more to do with women not knowing their bodies and not being creative with positions? Because I've always said when it comes to sex and women's G spots, everybody's body is made the same. Every guy that you sleep with, he doesn't curve the same way.
Right.
Your body, so those things make a difference. So doggy style with one guy is not going to feel the same as doggy style with another guy. So I think a
That
lot of that penetration orgasm comes from women not knowing themselves enough and not trying many positions. Most people only do missionary doggy style. That's pretty much about it.
And I'll tell you this, another thing that will really help you if you don't have a lot of orgasms is Kegel exercises. And if you really don't know what Kegel exercises are, it is the tightening of the vagina canal when you are having sex. And a lot of times we don't realize that those muscles contract. Same muscles that contract when you're going to deliver a baby. Same thing. Just just so you can understand where it is. But here's the
Kegels
thing.
are the difference between WAP
So,
and
so
bullshit.
So here's the thing. If you go ahead and if you go ahead and you urinate and you stop your stream while you're in the bathroom and you stop your stream, that is how you can do Kegels. You can do Kegels at work, you can do Kegels in the car, you can do Kegels anytime. But one of the greatest things about Kegels is it helps for you to have more powerful and more thrusting orgasms. So what I mean like by that is you can get more of a powerful gyration when you are actually coming. And that's something that most women enjoy. And then when you have more power in your from your from your Kegel exercises, when a man is inside you and he is penetrating you, your tightening up will help you to contract more, and therefore you will feel orgasms more. So that's just another way to help to improve your orgasmic experience when a man is inside of you. Also, his size matters. Some men fit perfect, and when they fit you perfect, you can have great penetration and great orgasms when they fit you to the size you are inside. But it's so challenging because not all size work for us. There could be a man way too big that doesn't match our vagina canal. Then it could be some men that are too small, can't feel you. And then there can be a man that's just right. Remember the three little bears with the store porridge? Just right. Okay, so when I have sex with you and I'm riding you and everything else, I can get a climax and I can feel it and I can enjoy it from the penetration alone. And I don't even need you to touch my clitoris. I can feel it. It's good for me. But again, it comes down to size. Size matters on that.
But not in the sense that the bigger the better. That's not what that means by size matters.
No, well, right. And I say that we need to know our size vaginally by exploring different lovers, different men sizes. Actually, well, you will learn your own size inside. In other words, you'll know
Or
what type of penis will fit best.
and if you don't
Just
want
don't
to
look
try
at
with
it.
multiple men, they have novelty stores for that.
Yes, that there you go. I'm just
You can
saying.
buy them in every size and shape at a
Yeah,
novelty
and then
store.
you can see which one fits you the best. And then when you penetrate yourself with those toys, you can see which ones actually help you to climax. And then let me just say this: vaginal climaxes are different than clitoral climaxes. Yes, you still contract, but they feel different. It's a different feeling. It's not
Very.
the same. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different type of climax. Because some people think, oh, I'm not getting him. You're getting him. You just may not know that you are. Because when we have a man in there going like this, it's hard to keep up with what the hell we got going on. He's doing a lot. Now I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing. But when you but when you are having sex with somebody and they fit you good, then shit, we in this together now.
Period.
Have
Right.
y'all ever seen that
You know what,
China
Carla,
Wing
though?
hit?
I think foreplay solves another problem because let's be honest, everybody doesn't have the same amount. Everybody doesn't last as long as everybody else. So when you have men that have those issues that might not last as long, they don't, foreplay is a great extender when it comes to sex. And foreplay doesn't have to last 15 minutes. Foreplay can last for hours, literally. Foreplay can last. Foreplay is something that you can, if someone has to take a break, you can have sex in between, you can have foreplay in between the actual intercourse break. There are multiple things that you can do that don't involve penetration in between those breaks or to get everything going. So foreplay also helps with that, with those men who don't last as long as some women may like them to. So when it comes to foreplay, like Carla said, be creative, because the more creative you are, the longer foreplay is going to last. And even if you're with somebody that doesn't have that lasting ability, you're still going to enjoy that connection while you are together, because you've had so much mental intimacy that the lack of physical intimacy, all that makes up for the physical intimacy that might be missing or might not last as long as you would normally have liked it.
And
And
let
then
me
you could
tell
always
you,
finish with more foreplay. I guess you could call it afterplay.
Amen.
yes,
Amen.
like the afterplay.
Let's
I like that.
go. Yeah.
So, I'm just sitting here and I'm thinking about what you're saying, Miss D, and I definitely agree with everything you ladies were saying. I know my signal was going in and out a little bit, but y'all was bringing the fire, okay? Y'all done gave off so many tips and information to help everybody to understand what foreplay is, how to properly um, commit the act of foreplay, what different acts of foreplay are. Um, and for me, I think that foreplay is the physical part. And it's the mental and the physical. I'm gonna say that because I feel like what you were saying earlier, Miss D, when you were talking about how it starts with the text message that you send out early in the morning, or that letter that you put in inside of the lunchbox. Those are the little things. I'm big on all of the little things. So that for me is key when it comes to foreplay, and then all that physical stuff because I like the touchy feel um, and do. I think that knowing what you like and what your role is in the bedroom helps a lot. Whether you like to be submissive or whether you like to be dominated helps a lot because then you can gear activities towards things that you like. Um, while also pleasing your partner, because generally when it's somebody that you with, if they love you and they care about you and how you feel, then they are definitely going to be in tune with your body and also the sexual aspects, the things that you like, and pleasing you is what's going to please them. So did you ladies have anything else that you thought about when it came to foreplay before we move into safe words?
I just had one more thing. When it comes to foreplay, I think it's important for people to know that there are more body parts than just breasts, butt, and vagina and penis when it comes to foreplay. Explore the entire body from the top of the head to the bottom of the feet. Explore the entire body in foreplay.
That's the truth. Please explore the entire body, head to toe, head to toe. I'm a hit
Yes.
person.
Hands down, you have to do that. That's a given because at the end of the day, at the end of the day, when you have various different partners and different lovers that explore you and bring you joy, the joy comes not just from the sex alone, but also the erogenous zones. So do your homework, check out some books, learn some things, read, study yourself, take warm baths, explore yourself vaginally, explore yourself, explore your own penis, pay attention. What moves you? What doesn't? Journal about your masturbation. When are you most aroused? And what arouses you? When you learn those kind of things, you can figure out, okay, you know what? This arouses me around this time. Then I can tell my lover, hey, why don't you meet me at the house? Well, meet me in the house about 20 minutes and I'll be red hot and ready. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be more spontaneous too. Because when we get too mundane or we get too routine with sex, and it just starts to be, you have to change the way you do foreplay also. So change how you do it. If you always start with the nipples, next time start with the feet. If you always start with the top of the head, next time start with the thighs and ass. Change it up. Do something different, because you don't want your partner to be so comfortable with knowing what your next move is. They have to have a level of uncertainty to get more excited and aroused.
Yes.
And
And I was
toys
thinking,
are okay.
I'm sorry,
Say that
Letitia.
again, babe.
Toys are okay.
Oh,
Oh
absolutely.
yeah. Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Toys
Toys are
are
great.
okay.
They are great. I'm thinking
Have some goddamn fun.
that part. I'm
They're
thinking,
not cheap though.
don't also don't when it comes to foreplay, don't assume that everybody who enjoys exploring
Everybody frozen?
It might just be, that's probably Roxy.
Okay.
So yeah. But yeah, I agree. So on to safe words. So I think for me, safe words is something that every couple might not need a safe word. Every partner that you have, you may not need a safe word with. There are a lot of people who never venture off into the, I don't want to say the dangerous side of sex, but they don't get outside of the missionary aspect form of sex. So in those situations, they're not necessary. But anybody who enjoys exploring, even if the extent of yours sexploitations is being handcuffed, if you're going to allow anybody to restrain you in any form or fashion, if you like sex a little bit on the rough side, if there's some choking involved, whatever that situation is, anything outside of the typical just missionary, there are no, the only hands are caressing hands. It's you need to develop a safe word. There are situations where people have been seriously injured in the act of sex because some people like it rough, and sometimes rough can get a little too out of control. In developing a safe word, it's important to have a word that wouldn't necessarily be used in the act of sex. You don't want it to be a word that if said, nobody's going to know, is this a safe word or is this not? And safe words also play a role if you like to role play. So in role playing, there are a lot of situations where one person may play an aggressor. So it may get to a point where you may be being a little too aggressive. And if I'm saying no, but we're role playing, you might not understand that my no is a hey, you need to stop. So in those situations, it's a good idea to just develop a safe word so that there are no miscommunications. You know the difference between this no, and you don't even have to worry about that. So anybody who explores in sex, does anything that could be slightly, if you like to be choked, like I said, like the ball gags, anything like that, please develop a safe word, even though you probably couldn't use it if you were actually ball gagged. But I'm just saying, learn how to sign language.
Might not be able to do that either, but again,
that is funny. So definitely develop the safe word before you actually engage in intercourse. After sex is not the time to be talking
It is
about
not.
no safe word. And you will mess the safe word up. I'm gonna tell you right.
yes.
Make
Or
it
just
something
lock
you
the
can
door.
remember.
That's to the
Please make it
jar.
something you can remember.
Right. Well, I haven't had a whole lot of clients that was into um the BDSM lifestyle, or the sex slavery and all of that. I haven't had a lot of clients, but I have had some. And with my clients, I've had some that were swingers, just all kinds of unique cases. So I'm just thankful that I'm just not so, narrow minded that I can't listen to what their challenges are in their dynamic sexually. But the one that I did coach, he was mentioning to me that he really liked to do the BDSM. And he said that it was hard for him, get this, hard for him to climax if he didn't have that as a part of his sexual
Mhm.
engagement. And I was like, wow, really? What is it about that you feel so intrigued by? And he was just basically filling me in that it's like a blurred line down the middle of pain and pleasure that he just kind of plays with within the confines of the intimate engagement with that person. And so we talked about how, first of all, you definitely, if you're involved with anything like this, you definitely have to make sure that it's someone that you can really trust, number one. And number two, you need to know what the hell your pain tolerance is, because some of
Absolutely.
the things that can come into play and then into that BDSM dynamic is can be very torturous, can be very painful, can be excruciating. And some can just be a little uncomfortable but tolerable. So you have to know, with it again, it comes down to knowing self. You have to know, because like Dee had mentioned earlier, some people don't really want to open up about the side of them that's kind of freaky or kinky. So they don't want to bring that up. But if you don't bring it up to yourself and you get involved with someone that is open to it, and then you just start engaging without a safe word, now they may have a farther tolerance level for pain than you do, because you're just jumping into a new lake that you've never been involved in.
With a
So you
50
need to
Shades of
put
Grey.
it out there. Listen, if you want to squeeze my nipples with those nipple clamps and stuff, listen here. Don't make them too damn tight because that hurts, or whatever, whatever you need to say. I don't want my clitoris, bruised or beaten. I don't want you, if you slap me hard, it's on. We're all up in here fighting. So you need to be clear what is okay and what's not, to the point where it needs to be very specific, very specific. And see, the reason why I say it's important that the communication is not cloudy or murky in the waters is because when you don't make things crystal clear now, you will find out that people will go the extra mile, if you know what I mean. They'll keep pushing the limit.
Try it.
And so if you don't have that damn safe word in place, you can find yourself between a rock and a damn hard place. And now you're like, what am I supposed to do now? And I know for a fact, I know somebody that has been in this circumstance. And till this day, she still can't even look at even like a slavery kind of picture. Those different pictures that you see that happen to go on Facebook. It makes her very uncomfortable. It makes her uneasy because I don't think she established a safe word. And when you don't, you and I, or all of us, know that if you don't say clearly what it is you'll tolerate, even in relationships, period, but if you're talking about into a dynamic like this, you can find yourself in excruciating pain. You can find yourself
Seriously injured.
building a new fear for sex. And I tell you what, the hardest thing to get over is a sexual experience that has caused you excruciating pain and jumping back into sex again.
Right.
So you want to be clear in your mind first. What am I okay with? And then make sure that you say that ahead of time.
And
Don't
even
wait.
if you think that you're clear about what it is, you
Right.
have to ease into that. That's not one of those things that you're just gonna go in, put those nipple clamps on and put them on real hard. Listen, there's levels to this shit. Don't tricks are for kids. You got to ease into this.
Yes.
And the other thing is things that you don't think you're comfortable with, you may be comfortable with. You have to explore. You have to pace yourself because, well, I'm not gonna go there. Not gonna tell all my business, but my point is, I can relate to pain and orgasms. There is a
Okay.
certain level of pain.
And what was your experience, Letitia, with that? Do you find that it really increases your arousal and orgasm, or do you feel like it just brings a different version of it?
So remember how I said I don't always orgasm from penetration?
Yes.
Penetration is the most intense orgasm I've ever had in my life, and they don't happen often. I've only had it with two men, right?
Wow.
So it's right there when the person knows what kind of pain level to apply. Like it's like well over the cliff.
So is the pain, does the pain have to, can be anywhere, or is it in a specific area on your body that increases the orgasm? You don't have to be specific, but is it several places or one?
That's what the pause was. So it's several places because
Okay.
for me there are certain things like Dee was saying about non-sexual hot spots.
Yes.
Those are the things that push me over the cliff. Like
Okay.
my side. You know
Really?
what I mean?
Okay.
Right there at the hip, bite right there, it's on and popping. You're not leaving this worm. You have just hit the reset button. You
And that is
are
such
for
a,
a
that is
treat.
such a zone that is so intimate, Letitia. Like nobody knows that.
Yep.
Nobody knows that unless they're really an explorer. They don't know.
Listen, because some men touch all of you. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Some men touch every inch of your body.
Yes.
And then some just be going for the treasure chest.
Right.
You got to touch all over me because you never know what you gonna
But I
get.
love what you
That
said.
part.
You said something powerful, which is on the side of the, and see, this is stuff that we as women don't really talk about, but I think that it's imperative that we do. I love that you talked about something non-sexual that really gets you going, and that's enough to make you climax. That's deep. Now,
Yeah.
see, if men knew this, they wouldn't know what to do with it because they're thinking all this time I thought I had to do oral, and all I had to do was bite her on her cheeks over there. That's it.
And you know what's crazy? It
Right.
takes a special man, like it takes some special tongue action to get me there. I don't require oral.
Me either.
I don't require oral. So
Me either.
and they always look at you crazy. They be like, "What? Yeah, get your skill level up because that's not a requirement."
I don't. Yeah, I don't have to have that in order to climax. That I don't need. I
Mm-mm.
don't have to have it. If I have it, now I appreciate it. Trust.
As a
But
matter
it's not
of fact,
mandatory for me to go there. I'm
as a
just happy
matter
to
of
be
fact,
here.
Paula, you hit on something about pain and sex. So
Yes.
I want to say, like the second guy that ever gave me oral, he bit my clitoris, girl. And when I tell you he bit it.
Did it
I
hurt?
did not miss. Whew. That was traumatic.
Oh
I
my
didn't see
gosh.
that go down on me for like 4 years.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
He bit like it was swollen, like it was a fucking bite.
You ain't punch him in the forehead?
I did punch him.
He was
Bruh.
he was being
in a front
vicious.
ass
That
naked, that's
there's
what
no reason.
happened. Like,
And again, that comes from somebody not knowing what they're doing. Why did you even go down there? You don't
I'm
even
gonna
know what
tell
you're doing.
you, it might
I
not
know
be
you
that
were
though, Miss
upset.
Carter. Listen, everybody don't like the same thing. That's what I was trying to say before my stuff cut off on me.
right.
Somebody else might have liked that he did that to them. But you got to realize when you step into something with somebody new,
Mm,
I
Right.
may not like everything that you did with Sally. You know what I mean? Because Sally might like
exactly.
to get bit on her coochie, but don't bite mine.
Yes. Keep your
Facts.
goddamn teeth to yourself.
Because that'll shut
Facts.
the whole session down. There's
Yes.
people out there that like to get spit on during sex. That's not my
Oh,
thing.
that
No.
is
Like,
not
We're
my
gonna
cup
we're
of
gonna have a
tea.
we're
bruh,
gonna have a problem.
don't you hawk up a
Right.
yo,
And
don't
you
you
know what?
hawk
And
up
I
a
don't knock
loogie.
nobody for doing
Mm-mm.
it. Don't bring that shit over here. Please
Don't do
don't.
that.
Listen, you can't even. You know how on a porno he spit as he going in, if you do that shit, I'm getting up and I'm fucking leaving.
The most you can do is spit around me is that. That's it. That's it. That is the
First of all, if you need assistance getting in me, you're not doing it right any fucking way. It's a whole fucking river. Do some work. That's number one. I do not spit. I will get up. Get up and leave. I swear to you, I've done it. Like, what's that? Good night. Where you going? I'm leaving. I'm leaving.
Yeah, because they don't. And see, this is the reason. This is a great point. So a safe word is needed for that, because that's nothing. That's something you will not tolerate. It doesn't always have to mean that it's got to be about BDSM being a safe word. But certain things, like certain lovers don't know. Like I know, like some lovers are okay with you as a man that you can go in the anus and explore there. Other brothers be like, "Don't you touch me there." So
not breathe.
They don't have they don't say a safe word, but they are clear. Like I don't need all that. Okay, well I'm just telling you that that's where the zone is at. Because I'll be like, well, I'm a coach, right? I know this stuff, right? So I'm telling you that your prostate will help you have. I don't care what it helps me to have. You're not doing that. Okay, we cool. I'm just telling you that's where it's at, though. Just know that. But then, okay. But do you know about the missing 3 inches though? What is that? Well, that means that I can still touch around that. It doesn't have to be in there. All right, we can try that, but you ain't going in. Okay. But now there wasn't a safe word in place, but there was a discussion made. Well, I don't want you all over there. Okay, that's cool. But just know I know a little more about the prostate than maybe the average woman, and I'm telling you, that's how you have, because there's milking. You can do milking experiences. You can do all kinds of stuff that can make a man's whole octave in his voice change to a soprano. But
hey, but you know what, Carla? That's why I agree with what Carlos said. Carlos said those conversations need to happen before the man is standing there with his out. Right. Yeah. We need to have this conversation. But we need to get comfortable with conversing about sex.
Child in the pack. Huh? Yeah. Real clean with your language. And I certainly would have said that.
But I'm trying to be nice.
Because you gotta figure.
Because if I start, I'm going all the way vulgar. So I'm trying not to start. But
that's why I say it's so important. It's so important that we talk about it first, but just know that I'm not closed-minded off of many things.
Right.
So in my openness, because I've been around, pardon me?
We got to get comfortable with the conversation, and a lot of people are not comfortable with the conversation.
They're not. Now, when I was doing Essentially Speaking, I told you I was doing that for a while. I would talk to men about it because most of our brothers, they don't, you're not going over there. So I'm like, well, how are we supposed to empty your prostate then? Because it needs to be emptied out. Because there is what you call a prostate massage. They're like, you're not doing that to me. So I had to create something around it. Like I call it the, not the push-up technique. Well, yeah, the push-up technique is one way, and the rise and fall to help, to excrete as much semen out as you can. Because men don't realize your prostate enlarges as you age. So you need to get a lot of semen out when you ejaculate. Again, men don't want to hear that, but it's what it is. It's like, listen.
A lot of women don't want to hear that. I'm amazed at how many conversations that I have with women. Oh, no, I'm not around my butt. Sir, please put your finger in my ass. Please.
What's the problem?
Please send me over the cliff. Y'all
what's the problem?
Turn the favor.
Absolutely.
Like, what is the problem here?
What is the problem? What's wrong with y'all? I live my life uninhibited in all facets. I will not be limited by my mind, by what
but that's why you have joy when you make love. That's why.
If you're uncomfortable, find another partner, because I promise you, it is balls to the wall in here.
Period. Everywhere. All juice everywhere. Period.
Right.
God damn it, I don't have time. I got 5 babies. I got to empty this thing out for real before I go back in here with them. So let's
Right. Real shit.
I hear you.
go.
Yeah, so like
But
I was
back
saying, I
to
just think that men need safe words too. Because some men aren't as open to some of us women that have had a lot of experience. Some men just aren't, you know what I'm saying? They're not as open. And that's fine, but we need to conversate about it. So what are you inhibited about? I'm just
definitely got to
asking.
start conversating about it because
Yeah. So
enough
I
people aren't
mean,
doing that. But
Absolutely.
because I don't
but
kiss
that
and tell. I'm not gonna tell on
right. Hey, but like I always say, whatever goes on between 2, 3, 5, 37 consenting adults, that is your business
your business. It's your
all
business
day long. No judgments here.
It's
at
the
all.
coming for me.
Listen, I'm not gonna say a word, honey. Do you? Because I'm gonna
I'm
do me.
kidding.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
You
but
already
please
know what it is.
don't think that safe words are only for people who engage in BDSM activities. That's not what that's for.
No.
Even if you role play doesn't have to mean sex is aggressive. It just means you guys are role playing, and there may in role playing somebody may say something that triggers a negative thought to you,
Right.
or
Absolutely.
you have a flashback to an uncomfortable experience. So in
Yep.
those situations, you're not having aggressive sex. There's no
Right.
BDSM involved, but you need to know that, okay, we need to cut this off right now. So
Yeah,
there are a
because
lot
your
of
acting,
situations,
yeah,
right?
your acting is really good. And right now it's really
Right.
triggering me. It's triggering my point, my peace inside. And so now, in order for me to get back to safety, I need to have this word here. So we understand playtime is over.
And that's an excellent point, especially for women who have suffered trauma, because I myself have suffered, sexual trauma. And I worked really hard to work out of the headspace of
Wow.
not being able to have sex uninhibited.
Right.
I know that a lot of women struggle in that space after
Right.
you've been attacked. Um, a lot of women before they even have their first sexual encounter, which really damages your whole sexual journey as a woman.
It does.
And I think my saving grace was that my mother has always been very open about sex. So when I did have questions, she was able to talk to me. My mother worked in OBGYN for years, and there were just very clinical aspects. And then
Right.
as I got older, very womanly aspects that we did have conversations about. And as women, as mothers especially, we have to have these conversations with our girls. We don't want to send them out in the world thinking, oh, sex is just for men. You're
Yeah.
not getting that whole experience. There's still so many women that aren't enjoying sex.
Wait,
Yes.
now we got to tell
And
our
you know
men
what?
too. Now, hold on. Don't just exclude. Talk about the women. We got
But
to
Well,
talk
I'm
I
talking from
think a
the
lot of
thank
that
aspect of
you,
a
Bam Bam.
mother.
Thank you, ma'am. And our
But
we.
I think a lot of that is because a lot of people learn sex from porn. And that's not where you should learn sex
Right.
from.
Absolutely not.
Right.
Absolutely
But
Now,
I
not.
agree with you,
and
Letitia.
having a
I had
daughter. Oh, I'm sorry, D.
I
Go
was
ahead.
gonna say I agree with you, Letitia. I had a mom that I could talk to about anything.
Mm-hmm.
There were no judgments. We could actually talk. We need to normalize parents talking to their kids about sex. And it doesn't matter
Absolutely.
what their age is. You
Mm-hmm.
can
Yes.
talk to children like they comprehend. There are levels to the conversation, but
Right.
we need to start having those conversations, and having those conversations at home will make it easier for those people when they start exploring sex, when they get off into
Absolutely.
sex. It'll make them more comfortable exploring themselves and make them more comfortable when they actually get with a partner. So it starts at home. We've got to start normalizing the sex conversation. We've got to stop making it so taboo to talk about, to
Yes.
even talk about sex.
Now, with
Yes.
me being a mom, because I have my daughter's 21. Well, she's getting
Mhm.
ready to be 22 in a couple days, literally. But having an adult daughter that's 21, so I have a grandson. She's in a very intentional, loving relationship. Everything's cool. But when she was growing up, one of the biggest things that I tried to emphasize with her is that I don't own you. I don't own your body. You do. So we are born to procreate. Just understand that.
Mhm.
And so I tried to make it very specific. I tried to give her as much, without being too graphic, giving her as much as I could that, in that space as a mom. Because now I've graduated, and she actually helped me to graduate to best friend because I'm a mama. So for the longest time, I held back a lot of stuff, if that makes sense. I didn't
Mhm.
show a lot of
Absolutely.
my sexual stuff to my daughter because I was very big about keeping her looking up to me as a parent. But
Right.
now you have your own lover, you got your own baby, you're a woman to woman now. So I can tell you some things. So now I'm okay that we advanced to woman conversations. Thing that's so crazy though is she had to babysit me, she had to graduate me into that. She's like, Mom, I'm not a little girl anymore. I'm like, oh, give me a minute, give me a minute. Give me
It's
a
a
minute,
hand
wait a minute.
transition.
And then, now her and I conversate about everything. She's
I
told
mean,
me some things that blows my mind, like, wow, really? And so I feel like when we don't become their friend too soon, we allow them to understand we're mommy, and we're mommy to the point to their maturity. Once they become a woman or a young man, like my son, he's 13. Once they become a woman or man, then we're adults now. There's certain things I can now expose to you. I did educate you, but I didn't tell you all my stuff. But now we're girl to girl now, so we're eye to eye. You have already evolved to being a young woman and being a mama. Okay, it's safe now for me for me to have
See,
these conversations. But it
I'm
took a
struggling with
while for
divorce.
me because I'm big about respect, your elders and stuff. So I was just like, I don't know about this. But she's like, Mom, it's okay. I'm grown now. You can talk to me. I'm like, oh. And then as she kind of helped me with it, she kind of helped me to build into learning how to develop a new mother-daughter bond, whereas she can be comfortable sexually with talking to me. And we always had that comfort. So I was like, your mom, Letitia, I was like, yeah, we can talk about it and come to me if you have any questions and stuff like that. But now she can say, well, Mom, these are my experiences. Or she's even talked about like her birth control has shifted sometimes her drive to be moved sexually. And I was
Mhm.
right.
like, really?
Listen.
So things like that we can now discuss because she's a woman now. But it took a while for me to get to that point of comfortability, I should say, to talk about all of that to her.
I get it because as open as my mother was, like, so the masturbation piece is what I picked up from her
Okay.
because I remember we were sitting at the table. I think I was like 15 at the time, and she said, "Of all the body parts that you have to know what those are on your body. Even though you've seen this diagram, Letitia, you need to know what that looks like on your body because every woman
Wow.
doesn't look the same."
Right.
And that conversation sticks out in my head because had she not had that conversation with me at 15, I don't know that I would necessarily understand how to make myself orgasm as early as I did in life. Like
Wow. Okay.
I was very clear about what my sexual likes and dislikes were very early on. So
Wow.
I wasn't. Look, we not. Don't be fumbling around in here. Pay attention. um,
Right.
and I'm grateful for that experience because now I know how to approach these conversations with my girls. I'm never gonna get there with my sons. I've tried to have certain conversations with my sons. My 17-year-old is still shutting me down on a birds and bees conversation. He's like, I'm not talking about this with you, and he will walk away from me so quick.
It's
He
different with boys from
refuses to
girls.
have the conversation with me.
Yes.
He was like, look, lady, you're being inappropriate. And he walks away from me.
Yeah, because boys are different than girls. I think because we have the same thing, it's easier for us to relate to our
They
girls.
are, however, there
Yeah.
are certain conversations we have to have with our sons because we
Yo,
know where they
absolutely.
fit too.
Yes. That's vital.
So
Yes.
I think that we need to have all the conversations with the kids, like you said before. I think that a lot of times we think that some stuff is taboo or some stuff that the kids will not understand, and sex just is not like that, especially not nowadays. Because if we don't teach our kids, then guess what? They gonna get it from somewhere, and it's coming from
They're
any
gonna get it from their cell phones that you
4 year old.
bought them.
That part.
That part.
They
Facts.
on them cell phones and they looking at all kind of stuff nowadays.
Because
So
Real
Pornhub
stuff.
is free for everybody.
that's a whole
Yes.
nother way. That's a whole nother topic for conversation. But I think I'm gonna tell you with when it comes to me and my daughter, Miss Carter, she's 26, my oldest daughter, and we talk about everything. But my mom was real open. Like she talked about everything. She was deep. Like she told me about anal sex when I was real
Yeah.
young.
See, I didn't,
She
I
graphic.
couldn't,
Okay,
like I said, I was baby stepped into this conversation with my daughter because I was so big about making sure that she understood I was her mom. So I was
yeah,
trying not to be buddy buddy with her because when I had to implement or, instruct or direct her in her life, I didn't want her to get it confused that mom's my buddy and I don't have to listen to her. So
yeah.
it was
I'm gonna tell
hard
you,
for
kids
me.
understand though. Don't you
Yeah,
did
but she told me, Mom, you did all the work. You were a great
just about
mom.
to say that.
It is okay. Now she's over here with me more than she's with her girlfriends. Like,
I was just about to say
girl,
that.
hi mom. Girl,
Yeah,
aren't you
that's
going
how
with
it
your
goes.
friends or something? No, I want to spend time with you. Like, okay, I'll take that.
Yeah, it's very rare to have a special kind of relationship like that. But
Yes.
our time then came to an end, y'all. It's running out. Oh, I know we talking
Crazy. It
in this
goes so
deep, deep. It
fast.
do when you have it fun. Time
I
flies.
know.
Absolutely.
But everybody, I want to thank everybody for coming out. I appreciate y'all for spending y'all time with us. Like I said before, do you ladies have any last words before we wrap this up?
Touch yourself.
Hey,
A lot.
all right. Yes, ma'am.
And then make sure to journal about it.
Okay, so that help you document your experiences and go back to them in case you forgot.
Amen. Yes.
All right, all right.
Journal about your touch. Yes.
All right. So I'm thinking, yeah, touch yourself, touch somebody else, especially if you love them, touch them everywhere, head to toe. I like feet. I got a fetish, I like feet. Yeah. So yeah,
Amen.
touch them everywhere. You know what I mean? Make sure that you don't touch them in the places that they don't like. Learn the partner experience, learn
Mhm.
their experiences so that you can please them in the right way. That way you'll be properly pleased in the right way. And y'all
Yes.
come back here again next week where we're gonna talk about anal sex and masturbation.
Let's go.
All right.
All right.
Right here on After Dark every Thursday, 10
Bye,
o'clock.
guys.
Good
Bye.
night.
Good night.